Simi quickly dragged out her box. Her hands trembled as she tried to zip it shut. Her heart was pounding so loudly she could hear it in her ears. She didn't have the luxury of time. If Toby got back and met her in the house, her life would be over. She had ordered a ride while still on the bus home, but the app said the car was still 5 minutes away. 5 long minutes. She checked the window for the third time in 1 minute. Nothing. Then her phone buzzed. It was a text from Toby. "Where are you? I'm coming home. You better be there when I arrive." Her stomach dropped. The calm tone of the message made it worse. Toby always sounded calm before he exploded. Once upon a time, somewhere in Surulere lived a young girl named Simi. She lived a double life and no one knew about this. There was real life, where she was stuck living with a perpetually tipsy, verbally abusive father, and a mother that was always walking on eggshells. Ukeme, Simi's mother, couldn't do anything right in her husband's eyes, and he transferred his aggression to Simi, their daughter. Simi's father, Adeyemi, took out his frustrations on his daughter, and that made Simi create another life for herself in her mind. Her fantasy. In Simi's mind, she would find a handsome young man one day that would finally love her and everything would be okay. But Simi didn't know how wrong she was. Simi graduated from the university and one day met Toby at a prayer meeting. He was calm, gentle, and so eager to please Simi. At last, Simi thought to herself, she had found the man of her dreams. And even though Toby was the very definition of a church rat, Simi didn't care. All she wanted was a home, a place where she could be herself, a safe haven. But Simi didn't know that just like her dreams, the Toby she knew was a fantasy. Not long after their wedding, the real Toby emerged. He became aggressive, unforgiving, quick-tempered, and difficult to please. Simi found herself reliving her mother's life. She found herself walking on eggshells in her home. Simi didn't know where to run. The life she had continually daydreamed about was now a waking nightmare. It started with little things. He was difficult to please and quick to anger. One day, Simi carried her husband's phone to call her phone. She had dropped hers somewhere in the house and couldn't seem to find it. She opened his call log and there she saw a name saved as Honeypot. She blushed, thinking it was her number. She thought her husband had saved her name as Honeypot. She quickly dialed it and it rang, but not in the house. Simi should have ended the call, but curiosity got the better part of her. She heard a woman's voice saying, "Hello." Simi was stunned and quickly ended the call. She sat on the bed and as though her fingers had a mind of their own, she opened her husband's inbox, and what her eyes saw made Simi's stomach turn. Simi must have been going through her husband's phone for a minute because it was his voice that jerked her back to reality. The question that brought out the animal in Toby was, "Who is Honeypot?" And Toby descended on Simi, beating her as though he had lost all sense of humanity. "How dare you go through my phone?" he yelled as he kept punching her. The beating resulted in broken bones and lots of bruises, but Simi forgave Toby, who told her that she was the one that made him beat her. "Don't you know it is disrespectful to go through my phone? You know I am not your mate." The day things got to a boiling point was when they went out on their wedding anniversary. Simi had saved up some money for a little treat at a classic restaurant on their anniversary. She had earlier transferred the money to Toby's account, and after they ate, it was time to pay. Things took a different turn. Toby had transferred the money to the account of the restaurant, but the waiter didn't seem to see the message alert of the payment. Simi made the one mistake she wished she hadn't. She asked Toby if he was sure he had sent the money, and what she received next was a slap. It was so loud that everyone at the restaurant turned to see what was happening. Simi felt a lot of emotions all at once. She felt shock, pain, anger, and so much shame. "How dare you ask me that?" Toby yelled. Simi was still reeling from the shock and couldn't say a word. "Are you saying I lied? Why would you doubt me in front of a stranger?" Toby yelled and walked out. Simi tried to put herself together. She made another transfer to the waiter and quickly left the place. On her way back home, Simi was bombarded with a lot of thoughts, but one was clear: she had to go. That was not the first time her husband had hit her, but she knew that if he could hit her in a public place, then her life was in danger. She quickly got home and threw in what she could lay her hands on into her box. Her hands trembled as she tried to zip it shut. After zipping it shut, she quickly dragged out the box. She didn't have the luxury of time. If Toby got back and met her in the house, her life could be over. She had ordered a ride while still on the bus home, but the app said the car was still 5 minutes away. 5 long minutes. She checked the window for the third time in 1 minute. Nothing. Then her phone buzzed. It was a call from Toby. Simi ignored the call, and shortly after, Simi's father called. Simi also ignored her father's call. She wasn't in the right frame of mind to talk to him. Not long after, her phone buzzed again. It was a text from Toby. "Where are you? I'm coming home. You better be there when I arrive." Her stomach turned. The calm tone of the message made it worse. Toby always sounded calm before he exploded. Simi's fingers went cold. She turned off the lights in the sitting room and tiptoed back to the door. Suddenly, her neighbor, Mama Rita, who sat by the window neat as usual, called out in a whisper, "Simi, you dey travel?" Simi froze. Her body went stiff. Mama Rita was harmless, but she was a chronic gossip. If she called Toby, or worse, if he asked her questions, she would say everything. "Just a short trip, ma," Simi whispered quickly, trying to keep her voice from shaking. "Okay, oh," Mama Rita said, narrowing her eyes. She sensed something was off. Simi stepped out and locked the door behind her, her eyes darting around. She dragged her box towards the gate as fast as she could. Her phone buzzed again, another message. "You're not picking my calls. Are you trying to run? You think I won't find you?" She gasped and looked up just in time to see the cab she had booked cancel the ride. No, 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 she mustered, her fingers shaking as she tried to book another. But her hands were sweaty and the app kept glitching. Her thoughts raced. Should she go back inside? Should she run? Just then, out of nowhere, a yellow and black cab rolled down the street slowly. The driver looked half asleep behind the wheel. She ran into the road, waving frantically. "Please, I need a ride to the bus terminal. Please, I'll pay you double." The driver looked at her, really looked. He saw the panic in her eyes, the desperation. He nodded. "Enter quick." She jumped in, slammed the door shut, and didn't look back. As the car pulled away, Simi exhaled sharply for the first time in hours. And that was how Simi safely entered the vehicle to her parents' house. But the worst was far from over. When she got home, she was thinking her father would at least caution Toby, but Simi's father did the opposite. Toby couldn't have hit you for no reason. You must have provoked him, Adeyemi said, and that was the beginning of her torture. Adeyemi toiled with his daughter's self-esteem day and night. Do you think it is all men that can tolerate you the way I tolerated your mother? You are almost 40. You won't find a responsible single man at your age. Go back to your husband and apologize to him, Adeyemi would say. Simi would cry out her eyes. But things took a different turn one day. Simi was browsing on the internet when she saw a free program organized for people that have survived domestic violence. Simi attended the program and even signed up for therapy sessions organized by the NGO. Simi finally became aware of the mental and emotional abuse that had shaped her life. It finally made sense. Her father had conditioned her to feel worthless and undeserving of love. She had tied her self-worth to the hope of being accepted and loved by others. Simi realized she had always overcompensated and tried to buy people's love and acceptance. It was strange and liberating to know that she didn't need her father's validation or love. She didn't need to be married or loved by anyone to be happy and fulfilled. Simi started the journey of self-love and acceptance, and her father couldn't stand the woman she was becoming. Toby came with threats, but the Simi he met was different. Simi was ready to face the world as a woman that was healing and knew her worth, and she wasn't ready to settle. Sometimes healing begins the moment you stop trying to fix broken people and start fixing the way you see yourself. If you enjoyed this story, do give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and share this story with a friend or two that you feel will not only enjoy it but benefit from Simi's story. Remember, subscription is free. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.